Good evening and welcome to Sports at Prime. It's time for us to have a wonderful discussion about football, and a discussion that I've been waiting to have for quite some time. The spotlight will firmly be on Supersport United, one of the most successful clubs in South Africa, who will once again be in the hunt for silverware when they kick off their Telkom Knockout campaign. Joining me in studio now is Stan the Man Matthews, CEO of the club, and I see you admiring the panoramic behind you. That was a bit of a surprise for you. I hope that you liked that. We managed to get your face in some of that as well, Stan.
Lovely surprise. I've got a face for radio, so I'm not sure about this.
We're going to give you a face for TV as well tonight, don't you worry. Good evening and welcome, Stan. It's lovely to have you on. I made a promise that when, and I must reiterate that I used the word when, not if. I said when Supersport win the trophy that is sitting so beautifully in front of us, if we can get a nice shot of that, by the way. I said when Supersport win the trophy, when they are crowned MTNA champions, I want to have Stan on the show. And I just needed time to pass to get to that point. And finally, here we are now. And I feel that there's a lot that I want to speak about. But a lot of people upstairs have been referring to Supersport United as the cup specialists of South Africa. And there probably are positive and negatives to that claim, because from a positive point of view, from the MTN8, the Nedbank Cup and the Telkom Knockout, almost every single season, at least one of those trophies have come home. I think I worked it out to 9 in the last 15 years. And you add to that the triple success of the league campaigns back in the mid-2000s. But am I wrong to say that Supersport United are cup specialists of South Africa?
Well, we did win a hat-trick of league championships, so we had a good spell where we consolidated well as a league side. And obviously, for us as a club, we would like to be a league-challenging side, season in and season out. But our reality, really, since Pitso was our coach, our first trophy was the SAA Super 8, you know, the predecessor to the MTN8, which was our first trophy. And from that sequence, we had 5 cup finals in a row, which was a record in South African football. I think it's still a record in South African football. So we kind of stumbled across our cup pedigree, and certainly in the time that Pitso was with us, we didn't feel we had a squad that could challenge on all fronts. So we targeted the cups. Gavin came along, and he was very clear that the league was, where he wanted to be. He wasn't interested really in the cups, and from 2007 to 2012, we only annexed the Nedbank Cup in the 2012 season, because Gavin's eyes were firmly on the league, and it paid dividends. We had those 3 league championships. But I think we have to be realistic about where we are as a club. In the last 7 seasons, we haven't finished in the top 3. We've chosen, consciously to go after the cups. We've won 8 cups, and we've been in 8 other finals. So clearly, we've got what it takes to compete in the cup competitions. And we're very, very proud for a young club, 22 years old as a club, and we've got 12 trophies under our belt. And, certainly since I've been at the club and even before, we've won trophies with 7 of our 9 coaches. So I think that speaks a lot to the backbone and infrastructure of the club, that we could be successful multiple times with multiple coaches, as opposed to being a club that only enjoys success with one person.
You speak about being a young club and barely 3 decades old on the footballing landscape of South Africa's terms. That is indeed a very young club. But I think when it comes to young and youth, the academy of Supersport needs to certainly stand out as one of the best in South Africa. And I think perhaps people might not realize how much talent has come out of that Supersport Academy and how much of a role it plays in being able to shape perhaps not just the makeup of the team, but the way that the club itself is actually envisioned and viewed from the public and the players as well. Because there's some wonderful names that I could take you through of Dane Clayton, Kermit Erasmus, Ronald Williams, who's still there. We'll speak about him in a few moments' time. But the club has had a wonderful history of being able to firstly identify young talent, hold on to young talent, and then give them arguably this incredible platform to go on and make superstars out of themselves.
Well, I think that's been the greatest joy for me in the football club, because I came as a youth coach from amateur youth coaching, and Imtiaz Patel brought me into Supersport and gave me an opportunity to come and establish a fully fledged academy in the club before I became the CEO. And so my mandate from the start, via Imtiaz, was build sustainability and continuity in this football club. And I think it's not only the players. We've got 70-odd players from our academy playing in different clubs in the PSL and the National First Division, produced dozens of national team players. And I think what's also exciting is the academy itself was the catalyst for a guy like Caetano. When he hung up his boots as a player, he's been with us 20 years. He moved straight into the academy, and he worked his way through the under-13s, under-15s, under-17s, under-19s, and assistant coach. And now today he's a trophy-winning PSL coach. And I think that kind of growth and development of an individual over a 20-year cycle, much like Ronwin, who joined us as a young, barely 12-year-old goalkeeper, and today he's the Bafana keeper and the PSL keeper of the year, and we're very, very proud of that type of product. Most of my staff have been with me for between 10 and 19 years, and our retention of our backroom staff is really the key ingredient to the club, and I think fueled by a fantastic board of directors, our chairman, Kulu Subia, who's been a bedrock and there since the beginning of the club, and then fired by strategic visionaries like Imtiaz Patel, having great hands on deck like Graham Abrams over the last decade, has really given us a backbone and infrastructure and an environment where 6 different coaches could come and win trophies. And I'm very proud of that, of what we've built at the club. I'm very proud of the staff because, you know, they really are the ones that deliver. It's the players, of course, on the field and the coaching staff, but there's the medical staff and the academy staff and the cooks and the cleaners and, you know, the science that goes behind it. So we've got a great team. We've got 119 families that depend on our club for a living. And, but we're a small, tight unit, and we run a professional ship at a very close-knit family type of atmosphere. And as I say, most of the people have been with us for between 10 and 20 years. And that makes us very close and able to have continuity and sustainability in terms of our success.
That must make the Brains Trust incredibly happy to look at the sustainability of the club, to take a look at just some of the words you use now: sustainability, family, long-term, because unhappy people generally don't stay where they are. They want to try and find something else. Conversely, happy people love where they are and stay put where they are. For you now to be able to have staff members, players, etc., coaches in particular, who have now spent decades upon decades at this club, I think perhaps the term of "we're a family" rarely gets thrown around quite loosely. Is that how you would describe then Supersport United?
Well, that's how we feel. We're a very close unit. You know, we know each other well over a long period of time, and we've been very successful together. We've won 12 trophies together, and we've been runner-up 8 times, so we've shared pain as well. It's not just a case of only, you know, celebrating the highs. We've had some lows, and we've lost as many finals as we've won. So that, you know, bounce back ability, if you like, and that backbone, we have it at the club, and we have it with passion, and we have it with unity. So, and it's been a real blessing to work for a company like Supersport that's given us a mandate to go out and change lives for the better, to introduce a youth academy, to look after our players in the best possible way. We've got a fantastic exemplary record at the PSL, and our players are a happy bunch. And, you know, we're proud of that. And also our contribution to the national cause. You know, right now, Andre Arends is with the national team as the Bafana goalkeeping coach. My masseuse, Bertha Maselasele, is with the under-23s. My MDC coach, Kwaneli Kopo, helps the under-23s regularly. And I think we're very proud of the contribution we make on and off the field to South African football.
You said earlier on that we need to be realistic with where we are as a club, and if that then dictates that perhaps a longer-term goal of a league campaign might be slightly out of reach now as opposed to a cup competition, how would you then describe where you are as a club then, if you were to try and define that?
I think we're in an exciting space. We've got a young club. We've got an average age of 25 in the first team. We've got tremendous youngsters that have got a lot of space to grow and improve. We've got a youth academy and a multi-choice Diski Challenge team that is filled with exciting talent. The next wave of Tebogo Mokoena and Sipho Mbuli is coming through. And, you know, 2-3 years' time, exactly as I said in 2016 when we signed Yeye, that he would make a big difference to the advancement of Mbuli and Mokoena. So I see the kids in the MDC that are going to come through, so that eventually, you know, we anticipate that players like Aubrey Modiba, Tebogo Mokoena, Sipho Mbuli can make their way to play overseas as a first prize. That's what we'd love. They've got time to do that at our football club. And we've got the youngsters to push them out, because the most important thing is for them to feel pressure. And the young ones come and they give pressure, just like Tebza and Sipho and Jamie Weber have put a lot of pressure on Yeye to the point where we felt, okay, we're ready to let Yeye go and run with the youngsters. And we've got that all over the park. We've got young Luke Fleurs at the back at 18 years of age. He's going to be sensational. Lungu, the Zambian, tremendous talent. I mean, he's 20 years old and he's, you know, 4 years away from seeing the absolute best of him, and I think he's going to be an absolute superstar. So we're excited about some of the young talent we have in the club, and as long as we can surround them with the right characters and leadership and senior players down the spine of the team, we feel we've got good youngsters that can sustain us. Certainly to carry on our top 8 qualification. We've had 19 consecutive top 8 qualifications, and we want to just keep that record going. That's very important to us to, continually be in the top half of the league table while trying to annex trophies.
In the near future, we might welcome you back and put a Telkom Knockout trophy in the front of the studio here as well. Standing in your way, though, at least provisionally for now, is Baroka FC. Speak to me about the current Telkom Knockout. You haven't won it since 2014 for a club that likes to enjoy club cup success. Is 2019 going to be the year whereby we add yet another trophy to it and arguably we bring that Telkom Knockout Cup?
Look, we lost in the Telkom final when Stuart was with us to Cape Town City, so we came close to, to getting the trophy back after we had beaten Platinum Stars in 2014. So it's a trophy that kind of has eluded us over the years. We haven't had the best of luck with it. We're playing the defending champions. But, in a way, the pressure's off. We've got a trophy in the cabinet. The boys don't have to go into that, and Caetano doesn't have to go into that with very high anxiety. Now it's about ambition and desire, which is exciting for us as a football club to see now that this group of players can kick on, because we won the MTN 2 years ago. And that group of players didn't kick on, and we barely survived relegation on the last day of the season. So for me, the players know and the coaching staff know that we want to see them kick on. And if they can, and they can make a good run in the Telkom, that would be fantastic.
It would be fantastic indeed. Baroka FC standing in the way, of course, the start of the Telkom Knockout, just a couple of weeks away, getting underway on the 19th of October, if I'm not mistaken. That's where Supersport United will indeed begin their campaign. We have Stan Matthews in the studio, the CEO of the club, giving us some wonderful feedback and some lovely insight into the club, how it is not just a football club. And from what Stan has told us tonight, it is very much a family affair. Their long-standing contracts. Katana Tsembo enjoying his 2 decades at the club. What about a youngster like Ronwen Williams joining the club at just 12 years of age, making his entire career through Supersport United, going on to represent his country as well at international level. That is the kind of talent that Supersport United are trying to breed, or trying to replicate as well going forward into the future. We certainly will be keeping a very close eye on them for not just the Telkom Knockout, but of course for the rest of the Absa Premiership campaign. Stan spoke about being slightly shy on the Absa Premiership side. Hopefully some success will come their way as well in the longer format of the league campaign. Stan, there is where we leave it tonight. Thank you very much for your time. I do want to welcome you back in the studio when you do have yet another trophy to come and show off to us. But for now, enjoy the MTNA. Congratulations and all the best for the Telkom Knockout and for the Absa Premiership.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Stan Matthews, the CEO of Supersport United, joining us live in studio, giving us some feedback as to what happens both on the field and behind the scenes at Matsatsansa. We take a quick break. Plenty more to follow on News at Prime. Kathy's up next, bringing some fresh headlines for 7 o'clock.